Hi, and welcome to my podcast, Creative Full Time. I'm Alison Mullings, and today we have a little bit of a different episode, and I'm a little more nervous because I am going to be interviewed by the lovely Lana Evanson. She is going to ask me questions, and I'm going to answer this time. So I hope you enjoy.
Okay, so I obviously came prepared, so I will be asking, I feel like Maury Povich.
So ready.
But I didn't want to miss because it's a great opportunity to like ask everything that
I appreciate it because I did want to do an episode like this where I am interviewed. I was waiting for my 50th or 100th episode just to be delay it. And then it's perfect that we don't know each other at all. So I think that's great because I've had friends that have offered as well. And I think somebody that doesn't know me at all you'll get probably better questions.
Okay, I love that. Okay, amazing. Maybe better answers too.
Yeah, I hope so.
I guess we'll start. So I'm a new actor also, so I just want to mention that. And that's why I have so many questions.
Excellent.
And so, I guess we'll ask, how did you start getting into acting or becoming an actor, or what's your journey?
What is my journey?
Yeah.
I thought I always wanted to be an actor, and then I looked into my kindergarten memories stuff, and it was I want to be a singer. I was like, okay, so performer. We didn't miss the mark too much. But I remember in grade 4 or 5, we had a principal at our school, really small town school, and he loved putting on plays, and lucky for us because that was the only arts around. Okay. And so he put on The Hobbit, and I really wanted to be in it. I auditioned, didn't get a part. I got you can be in the background if you want. And I was like, if I'm not the star, I don't want to be in it. Divas started early. Yeah. And so I didn't do it at all. But then at the end of the year, they're like, stand up if you were involved in the play. And I was just like, I was like, hilarious. I was in it. Yeah, totally. People were like, no, you weren't. I was like,
should have been.
And then the next year, I had a different principal, but she loved musicals. Okay. And so we did Anne of Green Gables, and I auditioned, and wasn't a good audition. My friend is she was a professional singer, and she would sing opera and stuff like that. And so I went in trying to do opera. No, did not work. But I did land Miss Stacy in Anne of Green Gables. Okay. And then I hit the stage and sang my little heart out and fell in love with being on stage. Yeah. That's the origin story.
Okay, I love that. And then what happened next?
What happened next? I think that was the only... Oh, no, I did. There was maybe another play in elementary school that I did as well. I had actually my grade 6 teacher, Mr. Oberman. Shout out, Mr. Oberman. He, after one of the plays, I came back to class and he was like, you have to thank me in your Oscar speech or whatever. And he said, you sound like Ethel Merman. And, he was the first adult that wasn't my parents that was like, you could do this. And so he holds a very, very special place in my heart.
Well, he's getting a shout out here.
Yes, absolutely. Shout out here. Stay tuned for the Oscar.
Exactly. I love that.
But so from there, I started doing, in high school, we didn't really have any theater. We had French play, which was a spoof. We would do Shrek spoofed in French. Oh, wow. And so there'd be music that was pre-recorded. And then I... was Shrek. So I had this big, I finally got my lead role with a giant mask on my head. And it was a lot of fun. We had so much. We would bus down to Toronto and do performances in Toronto because there was no...
It's big time.
Yeah, it was. It felt like
a small town into a big city.
Was not cool at my school, but it felt great.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But it was a lot of fun because we would bus down, and because there's not a lot of field trips for French classes, we would have so many French classes and students and schools come and see our play, and every year it was something different. We did there would be a Finding Nemo, there was a Shrek Mania, there was Alvin and the Chipmunks, just basic popular, whatever was popular that year. But that was a lot of fun. And then outside of that, I did community theater, wherever I could, kind of thing. So,
and then, are you with an agent right now?
I'm not with an agent right now. I know.
Have you been?
I have. So I've had a couple agents. I haven't been with an agent for about a year now. I kind of took a pause and wanted to focus on my stand-up comedy producing stuff. And so, and I wasn't getting any work either. So I was just like, well, life is pausing me. So I was like, I better just do something else. So, I started producing comedy shows and enjoying that. But
what led you to getting the agent in the first place? Like, obviously as a child you were acting and you were on stage and doing theater. And then like, what was like, oh, I want to like be on TV, or I want to.
Oh, I just knew the trajectory from like high school.
It was always there.
Yeah. So like I did go to post-secondary for acting. I went to Toronto Film School.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And oh, wow, isn't this expensive?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Expensive. Rich.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Not anymore. But so I went there, had a blast, and then after school, I don't think I was grown up enough to like jump into acting. I think I was just lazy, not doing anything.
Did you know that you were not grown up enough? Like, was that like conscious, or
no?
You just, like,
I think just at that point, I was just like hanging out with my friends, smoking a lot of weed, and being like, someone will come and show up and give me my big break, and it's like, no, it's not. That's not going to happen. You need to do something. Maybe put in a little effort. So I didn't get my first agent till maybe a few years after that. I was just working and being like, things will happen as I sit here and do nothing.
So it wasn't like a fear thing, or it was just more of like prioritization.
Definitely priorities. I don't know if it was fear, maybe a fear in that, like, I don't think I had like a good enough package to send out to people. Like I didn't have a demo reel and stuff like that. So that's, when you look at like the logistics of that side of things, I didn't feel like I had a complete package of stuff, and I feel like you have to have, which is not even really true. So it's really just like a head game of like, no, you're stalling.
Like, or I just need to always be prepared, and it's like, are we ever always fully prepared? Like, kind of industry where it's like you just kind of have to.
And I think I always had like the intention of like, oh, I'll just film stuff myself and put it on a demo reel, and then did nothing. Didn't follow through with my plan. So I think I was just young and dumb. Young and dumb, wasted time.
Everything for a reason, timing for everything. I believe that truly.
For sure.
But okay, I want to know, what is the best and worst advice you've received from someone regarding being an actor or the industry?
The best advice that I've received, I think of when I was in film school, I had this teacher, Andrew Moody, who I adore, and I'm gonna wait for that siren. A minivan cop. Did you see that?
Ooh,
they arresting a whole family? What is happening? Alrighty, sorry.
That's okay.
So the best piece of advice that I think that I've got from someone is, if you can do anything else and be happy, do that. 'Cause it's hard. It's not an easy industry to be in, and it's not easy convincing yourself that you're even in it. So
that is hard.
Right? It is, because it's like, what qualifies you to call yourself an actor, right? You feel like you have to have these qualifications to be like, oh, well, see on my resume, I've done this. I'm an actor now. Whereas at the beginning, when you have not a lot on your resume or nothing on your resume, but you know it in your heart that that's what you are, that you're like, well, I do this, or like I've done things that haven't paid me. Does that count that I'm an actor if I'm not getting paid to do what I want to do? So it's not an easy spot, but also he said like perseverance is key. Is you just kind of keep trudging through it.
Yeah, especially if it makes you happy, right?
Yeah.
Like you know that it makes you happy. So then let me ask you, when can you call yourself an actor?
I don't even know.
Yeah, what is that?
When can you call yourself an actor? I feel like if you've done anything for free, if you've done community theater, if you've done short films with your friends, if you've done indie films, like you can call yourself an actor if you've been on a commercial, if you've done literally anything. Yeah, you can call yourself an actor.
Just like owning it. Yeah, you know? I think that's really big.
Yeah, and it takes some time. Yeah. It takes some time. Because even right now, I'm sitting here, I haven't worked on a professional set in the past 5 years. So I'm sitting here, and in like my darkest moments, I'll be like, can I even call myself an actor right now? Because I haven't been paid, or I haven't been on a working set. I don't have an agent right now. Like I'm an actor with no agent that hasn't worked in the past 5 years. So it's like, are you? When I'm like really going through it? And sure, people can sit there and say
They'll
no.
say whatever.
And that's fine. I don't care. But like I've done community theater. Like if you love it enough, you'll do it for free. And I'm doing it for free. Okay. So I don't know. I still love it. But I absolutely, you can struggle with calling yourself an actor because it's uncomfortable when you tell people who are not actors and you're like, hey, I'm an actor, like, oh, what have you been in, or what have you done recently, or what project are you coming up, and you're like, I have a hope and a dream and I'm an actor, you just have to believe me. Sorry. Exactly.
you know, I love that though. I think it's important because just to be able to own that and say that I'm an actor. I definitely struggled with that. Like people be like, oh, so what do you do? And then I say all my jobs that I do. And then I'm I kind of act, but it's like, I used to like, no, I'm an actor. Like, I don't care. I don't care what you say. Because
it does feel a little bit embarrassing at first. You're like, I'm an actor. You know, you're just kind of like, I'm an actor. But no, you're an actor.
Just own it.
Just, you're fine.
And you're continuing on this journey of acting. So you're an actor. You know, as long as you're continuing on it until you decided that you're not.
Until you decide. Exactly. Until you decide, you know what, I've had enough. I'm good. I'm going to try something else. Then you're an actor.
Yeah,
you're an actor.
Exactly. So. Okay, I love that. Thank you. And what about the worst advice?
The worst advice. I think the worst advice comes from my own head, to be honest. And I think the worst advice from my own head is that I'm not like thin enough, or I'm not short enough, because I'm tall. I'm 5'9", which is like average in real life, but really tall in the acting.
Okay, because I was going to say, like, I just met you and I was like, I would never be like, oh yeah, Alison's tall. Like, that would never come into my head, you know?
But see, it's all in my head because I just hear, like, oh, well, you can't be taller than the leading man if you're going to be the leading lady, you know? So, and all the Hollywood men are 5'8", right? You know, so it's like, okay, well, whatever. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, oh, okay, well then I'll never be a leading lady. Okay, fine. And then like I'm too fat to play this attractive, like sexually desired woman. Can't do that because I don't fit like the stereotypical pretty, or I'm too tall to be so there. And then I'm wedged into like, okay, so I can be the bitch, or the funny friend kind of thing, which I mean, both are fun.
Those are fun. But however, I think
just the limiting beliefs in my head is the worst advice.
Which is, I feel like isn't really like necessarily. They're your thoughts now, but you definitely learned that from the industry or from media in general, right? Like they taught you that. And so now it's become like maybe a belief in some sort.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's just welded right in there with all the just growing up. But I mean, it's getting better. It is getting better. but yeah, and so I just think it's the limiting beliefs of my own head, because you see people all the time that book roles that are super tall and thicker and fine. So like all of it. So
I'm glad it's changing. It needs to.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think just the worst advice is your own head. 90% of the time.
I agree. Okay, so now that I know that you've kind of been doing this forever, it feels like, is there anything that you had to change in your life to enhance your acting career or help you to focus on it? Like, was there things that just had to go, habits that had to change?
Yeah. I smoked weed like a chimney. Right. So like so much, morning, noon, and night. It was bad. I never did any drugs at all in high school. Moved to Toronto, and all hell broke loose.
Right.
So just too much smoking weed, and so that had to go. Yeah. It's pointless, and then it's not, and then it gets to a point where it's not fun either. So it had to go. As far as like habits in the last little while, I think more just like inner work, self work of like knowing that I am enough, that I can do these roles, I can be a leading lady, and just working through the limiting beliefs and that kind of thing. I'm not one of those people that like watch a lot of like films to be like, oh, I'm getting, I'm like the cinephiles,
right?
Like every film or whatever. And I'm like,
what's your favorite movie? I'm like, I have no idea. I can't answer that.
Right? And they're like, have you seen this movie? No. Like 9 times out of 10, I'm like, no. So
I'll write it down as if I will watch it.
Yeah, right?
I'm not sure if I ever will.
I don't know. It depends. But I wish I was a little bit. Yeah. But I have no time. When do you watch all these films?
I'm trying. But there's so many films.
Yeah. So try not to get caught up in what everybody else thinks I should be doing as well.
I like that.
So,
oh my God. That resonates with like the reading. I'm not a big reader. Like I find it difficult to really enjoy reading certain things. So I have to find the things that I like in the ways that I like to do it and the timing. Yeah. But I feel like it's just like so much pressure to always be reading novels. And I'm like, I don't really like a lot of novels.
Yeah. Like, my partner's family is really into reading and really into novels. And they're like, have you read this? Yeah. No. It's always a no. Yeah. And even if I am reading, it's usually nonfiction. Like I love psychology, like self-help crap.
Exactly. Yeah,
I love it.
I know.
I'm like, how do people's brains work?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
That's my whole bookshelf at home.
Yeah. So, exactly.
But I was going to ask you, and so like you mentioned habits, but what about like people, like just like boundaries with certain people, like maybe naysayers or people that just like maybe sucked you away from the craft and whatever that means? Yeah,
I think just over time I limited the time spent with those people. Like when I heard at least, you got to cut off those people. You got to get rid of them. I'm thinking, okay, I have to like ghost you and never talk to you again. Because I'm not going to break up with you. I've never broken up with anybody. Right. Yeah. I don't like the awkwardness. Yes. So I'm just going to ghost you instead. Yeah. So I realized that cutting out doesn't have to mean like I'm never going to see you again, or I don't care about you and I don't value you as a person. I don't love you. It means that I can't hang out with you all the time because it's not beneficial to me. Yeah. So I can hang out with you in spurts and do like small dosages of hanging out with you, or when I I've put a night aside where I'm like, okay, tonight, like I'm definitely just relaxing, hanging out. I want to be with whoever. Yeah. And we're just going to hang out and have a good time. Right. Whereas like a lot of the hangouts that I treasure is like deep conversation, talking about things, or working on something like, but mostly just deep conversations. Yeah. So if I'm just hanging out and shooting the shit and smoking weed or whatever, it doesn't do it for me anymore. So I just limit who I hang out with.
And how you hang out.
And how I hang out with them. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Let me see. Got so many questions here. Mm-hmm. Have you ever thought about quitting acting at all? Has that ever popped into your head where you're like,
yeah, no.
Yeah,
I've had brief moments where I'm like, should I? And then I'm like, nah. Like, it just sounds so stupid in my head. Yeah. I have told, especially this last year, because I'm the brokest I've been, but like the happiest as well.
Oh,
so it's
chills,
good. Yeah, so it's good. It's good. I wish I wasn't this broke, but that's okay. Yeah. We'll get through it.
We'll get through it.
I lost my thought. It left me just then. What was the question again? If I want to quit acting. Okay, so recently in this last year, I've been thinking, man, I really wish I wanted a regular job.
I wish you wanted.
Yeah, I wish I wanted. I wish I was okay with like
an office job,
a regular ass life. Just a normal life with a steady job,
steady income.
Yeah,
and structure.
Yeah. And to me, it just sounds so boring in my head. Yeah. And so I'm like, and like it works for a lot of people. And I sit there and I'm like, but how?
Ooh, yeah. Even the feeling of that kind of like.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't like it. Yeah. And I would die. I think I would just be so, it would take a lot to really snuff the fire that I have for the creative arts and then just like doing creative shit. Like I can't picture a world where I'm not at least in community theater.
Yeah, like, something. Exactly.
Yeah, so that'd be fine. But yeah, I've had times where I've wished that I wanted a real job, but I
don't.
No, I really don't. And I never thought about quitting acting. Is it hard? Yeah. Does it suck sometimes? Absolutely. Right. But I've never been like, this sucks so bad, I think I'm going to tap out.
Right. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Good. Okay. Have you ever done a role that you were like just super embarrassed about? Like,
oh my God,
looking back on the final project and you're like, I didn't know that's what it was going to be.
100%.
You have? That's my worst nightmare.
It is a nightmare.
Okay, tell me.
I play it in my head. Ooh. So and with comedy too. I did a set and like I invited my friends, I brought my parents, and I just went home and was like, that was garbage. Oh, no. I forgot the punchline of one of my jokes. Yep. So I sat there, I was like, I forget the punchline. Thank you very much, everybody. Yeah. Like, shit. And so, comedy-wise, I've definitely have. And seeing myself on screen and the cringe. The cringe is real. The cringe is like, is it your own
acting that you're cringing at, or is it the whole like
both
final product?
It'll be both.
It can be both.
I'd say both. Yeah. Both on more than one project for sure. Because sometimes you're like, okay, the writing's not great, but I think I can make it work. Right. And then you play it back, you're like, I didn't make it work.
You didn't make it work.
No. And it's just so awkward. And I mean, the ones that make me cringe the most is like, okay, I just said the line. Like I was not connected to that at all. And it was, horrible performances.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is like, what was it? So it was like, you can just see yourself not being connected.
I already didn't believe it.
Sorry.
No worries.
So I have this tea.
I didn't believe the writing to begin with, I feel like. And so it was just in the back of my head of like, this isn't great. Yeah. I'll try to make it good. And then I didn't at all. And so I'm watching it back going, that looks exactly how I thought it was going to sound. Not great writing. Go for it.
Get this out. I'm like trying to hold it in. My eyes were just like watering. I think I want to start with asking you just about auditions.
Okay.
Do you get nervous still for auditions?
Oh yeah. Self-tapes I love. I know there's like the whole, are you a self-tape in person or audition in person or self-tape person? And I love self-tapes. I love being able to watch it back. And I think I like can watch it objectively and be like, I like what I did there. I'm gonna send it.
Yeah.
So that's a good feeling. And but yeah, for callbacks, if like Zoom or live callbacks, I'm always nervous. Yeah.
Do you have any like tips to work around that, the nerves?
Breathing,
deep breaths.
It's like literally just deep breaths.
Yes.
And just trying to let go. And then I try to really focus in on like, okay, I'm looking at a plant, there's a table, my iPad, it like being in the moment, like things that I could just try to like be here and not think of like, oh, well, what if this happens? And what if this happens? And what if I forget my lines and all that crap? Because as soon as you start thinking about that, I don't know if you've ever had an audition where you've like started and you're like, oh yeah, I'm really nailing this. And you're like, oh no, I'm in my head now and I'm thinking about it. And you're like, oh, did that look all right? Or did I, so it's, as soon as you start thinking about that stuff, I'm like, crap. And it's hard to shut off once it starts going. So yeah, I do get super nervous all the time. I'm probably red here now. I get like really red and then.
So it's like visible. So you can't even like hide it sometimes.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll definitely get red in the chest if I'll get too hot. And then, my hands are sweaty.
So the breathing, do you like practice the breathing like 5 minutes before, 10 minutes before the audition?
As much as I can. I like to run it if it's if I'm doing like an in-person performance thing, I like to like sit in my car and run through it once. And then I feel like, okay, I've done it close enough to the time of actually performing it that I feel comfortable knowing it. And then the whole time from then on out is just trying to release
this right here.
Yeah, just like those deep diaphragm breaths or
vagus nerve breathing. Yes, I love that.
So it's just like focusing on releasing the tension from that area and then in my throat too. Yeah. It's just like, okay, we can relax. Like you'll be fine. Okay. Nobody's died.
Yes, I know, right? I will live past this. Like, no one's gonna die.
Yeah,
it's just
that's 75% of confidence in acting is just knowing that like no matter how shit it's gonna be, you will wake up tomorrow and you'll be okay.
Oh my God, I'm still working on that.
Yeah, it's a process.
So any pre-audition rituals then? So breathing, but is there any like, whether it's just like a nerves thing or it's just like a luck thing that you like to do, like, I don't know, wear something or?
I just like to make sure that I feel good, like with whatever I'm wearing or like even down to like my socks need to match.
Okay. Yes.
Because I don't know if you've heard like if your undergarments match, you're like 25% more confident.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's true, but
I try that. They never match. I'll try it.
You just feel good all the way through. Yeah. And so I like to make sure that I feel good with whatever I look like whether if it's like for the character what I've looked like, but also just like clothes I'm comfortable in.
Right.
Like being various sizes over the years and just like wearing something that's like too tight or like, oh my gosh, I feel like everybody's looking at my belly right now or I'm so conscious of my belly.
Right.
I don't want that. No. You don't want to think about anything else when you're in an audition. So it's essential for me to make sure that I feel okay in what I'm wearing for auditions. But as far as wearing something like Lucky or anything like that, I don't have anything. Yeah. I don't have anything that's like a good luck ritual. Just trying to stay in the moment.
Yeah, I love that. I like what you mentioned about clothing too. Like I've just been practicing that, not just at auditions, but like in real life. Like why would you ever wear, I don't care how good it looks, like if you're uncomfortable, that's the worst. I don't want to be picking at anything or like pushing anything. Like,
I know.
It just takes away from being present.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. So you're just thinking like, oh my God, are they looking at is this okay? I'm so,
no room for that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so have you ever bombed an audition and like what was that like? And how did you get over it if you did? I'm assuming you did.
Why would you assume that? No, I'm just kidding. I've bombed an audition. I've bombed on set and that was embarrassing. It was minor. It's not really that big of a deal, but I was supposed to say the Lord's Prayer. Okay. And it's our Father who art in heaven. Yeah. And I was standing there like holding this crucifix and I'm like, line. And like the director like had a necklace cross. And so, like he was
that was offensive,
and he was like, oh my God. And I'm like, I was raised in the church, like I should know this, but like for some reason, and I had done a bunch of takes already.
Yeah.
It was just that like on the 10th take, I was like, what's the first line of the Lord's Prayer?
Yeah. Wow.
So that was funny. And then
so it's funny how like you can know something so well. Like you've obviously been saying that since you were a child. I've been saying since I was a child. And then just
God.
It just happened.
Yeah. Just, yeah.
And then did you keep forgetting it? Like,
no, it was just the one time, which was good. But at the end of the day, the producer at one point said I was working with a child actor who was so much better than I was.
They always are.
They were so good. And I was like, well, shit, why am I even here? But she like went up to the kid and like audibly, so I could hear, was like, thank you for just being in the moment and not forcing anything.
Okay.
And then looked at me and I was just like,
oh no. Like with a side-eye thing?
Like, I'm gonna die today.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Like she was whispering and looking at you.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm never working with you again. I understand now.
Goodness.
Okay, thank you. But
she needs the Lord's Prayer.
Pray for her every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a long time ago. Okay. So I mean, I can laugh about it now.
Yeah. So is that a big deal to mess up one line?
No, and it wasn't like it wasn't just that I messed up the one line. Yeah. It was, I guess it was just the whole experience of the day. She just felt like I wasn't great, but which I mean, I probably wasn't. Yeah. So that's fine.
But I mean, for you, was that a big deal to mess up that one line? Like, did it stick with you for a long time? Making that mistake? I mean,
I still remember it. Yeah. I just think it's more of like a silly thing now. When it happened, I hold on to it in a negative way for like about a week, and then I'll try to let her go. Good. Yeah, right. Yeah. Like, and not constantly, but when it comes up, being like, oh yeah, that fucking sucked, and then just like moving on. But I don't hold on to things very long.
Okay, that's good.
I try not to. I try not to. At least. And eventually, it's just like, haha, how stupid. Like it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Like it's very minor.
Yeah,
you called for line.
Ooh, yeah, exactly. When you're telling me, I'm like, okay, what's the problem?
Yeah,
but obviously,
and the audition for that too, I thought was absolute shit.
Oh, interesting.
But I booked it, and it was just improv in the moment, and it was it was like, oh, someone's coming towards you. Someone's coming towards you. You're scared. You're scared. You're terrified. And whatever. And so I was like, like doing the most. Yeah. And then I left being like, that was the dumbest shit ever. And then they're like, you've got the job. Dumbest shit ever worked. Yeah, great. Exactly. That's awesome. I feel so talented.
Yeah. That's hilarious. I could scream. Okay, so audition room do's and don'ts. Like, do you ever see actors in there and you're just like, can you stop? Or like, that's annoying.
One thing that I think we've all done it in the beginning, but I hate ass kissing. And I've done it. Yeah. I've done it, be like, hi, do you like me? Like, you just go in for that desperation.
When you're actually in the room or the waiting room?
Both. So you're just like, hi, oh my God, I'm going to be the best. I love you. And I don't know, just absolute crap. But when I'm producing comedy and people are kissing my ass, I'm like, oh, what a turn off.
It is cringe, right?
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not that special. Like, I feel like I'm a regular person. You should probably stop doing this. But it's weird. But I've done it. We've all done it where we're like, oh my God, this is a casting director I really like and admire, and he's like booking all these shows, and that'd be amazing. And then you're like, I hope he likes me, right. Or I hope she likes me, and then I don't know, it just takes away from everything else.
Yeah, they feel it though, like you said.
You feel it. So it's just like such an unattractive thing. But it's hard to go in there and be like, hey, so this is what I have, this is me, and if you don't like it, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's a different level of confidence.
Yeah. I was taught that early though. Like, don't.
Yeah.
So I never.
I thought I was like so smooth with it. Yeah. I thought I was like, oh yeah, hey, I'm cool, but also,
yes. Exactly. Oh my goodness. Okay, so audition questions, Mom. All right. I think that's it for audition questions.
Cool.
Okay. Good acting classes versus bad acting classes. Any experience with that? And like, how do you know?
Yeah, that one's hard because it's like trial and error. You just kind of have to, like, if you're interested in a class, like see if you can audit a class or ask people that you know or ask anybody going to it.
Yeah.
Because I find with like all the different like techniques and everybody's different classes is I like going and then picking what works for me from each one and then making your own little way of you doing things.
Yeah.
So I know there's like a lot of good classes in the city. The last one that I've been to that I love is EVN Studios.
I am at EVN.
Yeah. I love EVN. Yeah. Hey, the EVNer.
Yeah. For lifer.
Right? So I love Earl.
Okay.
And, it's great, acting exercises over there all the time. It's just to like keep constantly flexing those muscles. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say because like what works for me may not work for other people. So it's hard to be like, oh yeah, do this one. Cause I don't know.
I like what you said though. Like just audit or go to each class. Like, test it out yourself and then come with your own.
Yeah, absolutely. And some teachers are at different levels too, right? Like some are teaching people that have like never looked at a camera in their life, and other ones are teaching like full scenes or full episodes of TV and stuff like that. So just figuring out like where you're at and what you want to learn. Like, do you want to learn like auditions, or do you want to learn scene breakdowns?
Right.
Or like, do you want to just like work on practicing being in the moment and like working with a scene partner, like that kind of thing? Because there's different things for everyone. And I just like, I like picking what works for me, and even if it's something small, and then just using it for my little my method.
I love that.
The Alison Mullings method.
Exactly. And also like I guess that's just life too, right? Like you could watch something on Instagram or watch an interview and pull from those too, and so you just keep building your method.
Absolutely. And then I'll publish a book in 20 years.
Okay, so what about good agents and bad agents? Like what? How do you know?
Again, it depends what you're looking for. But I find that for me, a good agent, I want to be able to communicate with you, and I want to be able to not feel stupid as I'm communicating with you.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. Like, I don't think I'm a total idiot,
right?
But you also don't need to make me feel like, what if I like make a mistake or don't understand something and I need to ask a question? Like, I'm the kind of person who will I rather ask and find out the answer than guess and be wrong.
Totally.
So I am an over communicator, and not that I'm going to blow up your phone at like 2 a.m. or anything like that, but I just want like an open line of communication for those moments where I have questions or I need something. And as far as like an agent getting you jobs and stuff, it's like so random. I don't even know if there's like a, because it depends, like, okay, well, what do you look like? What do your headshots look like? What do you bring to the table? Right. And then what do they bring to the table? And what connections do they have? And how are they pushing you, or how are they pitching you and stuff like that? Like, there's so many factors.
Yeah, it's collaborative.
Totally. So it makes it really hard. I think for me, for the next agent that I want, if you're watching,
I'm available.
Right? I want, someone who can communicate, and then I think I would want to sit down with them and figure out, like, okay, how do you see, how do you pitch your clients first is like pretty important, and then how would you pitch me to clients? So I think
I like that.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Good.
Steal that.
Because I think that it's important. And I think it would be based too on like your portfolio or headshots, whatever, to gear it towards that. Because if I want roles that are like lawyer cop and my headshots are like girl next door, no one's going to be like, oh yeah, she definitely looks like a cop. So you kind of have to lean your headshots and your pitch package in like that kind of direction. So I would want to sit down with them and just talk about like strategy and being like, okay, well, I really do like lawyer cop roles. I like period pieces and I'm funny. And so like those are the 3 looks that I would want for my headshots. If you wanted new headshots from me, I need new headshots. And then kind of go from there of like, okay, so what shows do you see me like being on, or like what, and then important, do you mainly see me just doing commercials, or do you like see me more in like TV film? Because I see me in TV film. Will I take a commercial? 100%.
Yeah,
they're great. They're great. Absolutely. I'll take all of those dollars. But the main goal is to do more TV and film. So if you're only going to put me out for commercials, then I don't think we're a match either. So just talking to them about like what your goals are and what if they match, if their opinion matches at all, I guess.
So this leads me to my next question. Is brand important? Like you're saying you see yourself in certain roles, but like, is that a brand? Like, yeah, because I've heard that word in different podcasts and stuff.
I
like
hear
having a brand
all the time
like,
too.
Do I have a brand? Like, what's my brand?
I feel like your brand is just your authentic self.
Yeah.
And whatever that looks like. Like, I don't know because I'm not a branding person. I'm not good at branding, and I'm just so all over the place with everything I do. I like doing really serious and crying, and then I'm going to tell jokes and make stupid videos. Yes. And so like my Instagram page is not a brand, I don't think.
It's just like whatever you feel on that day.
Yeah, it's just a mishmash of everything. But I think branding would be more important with pitching to that stuff. I think maybe social media plays a part in your
Tell me about
career stuff. I don't even fully know.
Okay.
Because it seems like that it plays an important part.
Yes.
And I heard that it is true in some areas and not true in other areas. So like I've heard some stories where they were up for a role, but they went with a person with more followers. I think we've all kind of like heard of the rumors of that.
They are checking.
Yeah, because it's about like sales and how to make money, right? So if you have more people following you, more people are going to come see the film or whatever.
Okay,
so
interesting.
That's a theory.
Oh, geez. I just started my acting account.
Yeah, you did.
48 followers.
Yeah, you did. Boom, boom, boom. Started. But yeah, I don't. It's weird because I feel like to me in my brain, my social media and my pitch package for acting are 2 different things.
Interesting.
Whereas like I'm not constantly posting like cop lawyer. See, I can be a lawyer. Look at me walk up to this guy and pretend I'm a lawyer, or stuff like that. I do have funny stuff on there, but I don't know. I don't know about how to tie the 2 together.
It's interesting though about the marketing. That's an important note to make.
Yeah, and I find with comedy, I've noticed it a lot because it's like from the producing side as well. If you're not promoting the show that I've hired you to be on, it's kind of a strike against you.
Wow, yeah.
Because I need you to
that makes sense.
Promote.
Yeah, why wouldn't you too?
And it's not even like I'm asking you to make a whole bunch of reels and make posts. When I post something in my stories, you repost it in your stories.
Absolutely. Especially if I tagged you, which I obviously
which I
did.
absolutely did. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's crazy.
So
why wouldn't you? That's wild.
So it's different now where you can be like Instagram famous and TikTok famous and that kind of stuff. And we've seen people like on TikTok, they're TikTok famous and then they go into acting or maybe the acting was the dream the whole time. I don't know. But, but it happens that way. So I get social media. I'm not going to say it's not important.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's the be all end
it's not
all.
gonna, it's not the make or break.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I
interesting.
hope not.
I know. I was like, oh God, I really need to think about this.
Yeah.
Okay. Networking in the industry.
I hate networking.
I don't like it either. I'm hoping you say it's not important. You don't need to do it. Stay in your house.
Yeah, stay in your house. No, relationships are important, but I find my relationships that I have made that have like benefited, like, oh yeah, can you want to work in this thing? Or just randomly. It's all like projects that I've worked on. Like it's not from going to a bar where all the other actors are and being like, hi, I am also an actor. What have you been in? You know who I've met?
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Because I hate networking events where it's just a whole bunch of actors just being like, well, I did this and I did this and I did this. It's like, I don't want to sit here and compare like the size of our dicks. I don't care. I don't care.
Terrible.
Yeah. So, I mean, I like networking in that like
natural. Like a natural connection.
Yeah, I don't like forced networking. And if it's forced networking, I don't want it to be entirely actors.
Yes, exactly.
Unless those actors are also doing like production and directing and behind the scenes stuff. Because then it makes it more interesting. But I feel like the whole point of networking is to like find a group of people and make something, but with a bunch of actors.
What are we doing?
We're not doing, exactly. I'm like, we're not exactly, we're not the starters, I don't think.
Yeah, possibly, but yeah.
We'll show up we'll show up, but I don't think we're as proactive as like the directors and producers are. Thank God for directors and producers.
Yes. I was going to ask you about memorization tips. Like what is your go-to?
I'm so not good for this question because I memorize really easily.
You do?
I do.
You're just gifted?
I'm just so gifted.
Wow. I
say that, but then I'll go and I'll screw up my lines. But I memorize things relatively quickly. What I do most recently is like for the play that I'm in right now, I'll record the scene on my phone and play it back.
So you can hear it.
Yeah, and listen to it. Sometimes I'll record it and the other person's lines, and then I'll leave space so I can say the line, and then I'll actually say the line on the tape recording so I can see if it matched what I just said.
Yes. Okay. Like that.
And then my friend I know started the cue card thing. So it's like, if your line is, what are you doing? You have a cue card that says WYAD. And so you know that, you can just look down and go, oh, right. My line is like, what are you doing?
Ooh, okay.
And so she has, it's the Emily Forsyth episode. You can check it out. But she is a good, she likes to do that for memorizing stuff as well. But as for tips, I do it a lot, like just repetitive, and then
especially for theater, right?
Well. Yeah.
Jeez, no cut.
Yeah,
you gotta know it.
Yeah, the thrill.
Oh wow, good for you. Okay. What does it mean to be a good actor?
What does it mean to be a good actor? I don't know. I think that's subjective. I think you need to know that you're a good actor. I think that you need to know it yourself and believe it yourself, and that takes time. I know that's like really easy to say, but like it takes
working
time.
on that.
Yeah. Working on it, like it comes with practice. It's just like doing it, looking back and then being like, okay, yeah, I was happy with that. Send it off. Or, oh, I wasn't happy with that. I think I'll maybe try this differently. Just looking at it subjectively, not like watching it back and being like, oh my God, look at my hair and my teeth, they're so bad. So just looking at the actual like performance of it, of like, do you believe that this is a person?
Yeah. Do you believe that? I think that's such a good question.
So like, do you believe that like this is an actual person saying these things, or are you like just saying lines and stuff like that? So, and I mean, being a good actor too, you're not going to bat 100s all the time either.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be, you're going to have some really good hits and you're going to have a lot of misses.
Right.
And so it's like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks and finding what's easy for you and what you like to do.
Yeah.
And, but as for everybody else thinking it's good, it's none of your business, not your problem.
Right. Oh.
And that's like really fucking hard because you just have to like put on your blinders and like ignore it all and like plug your ears and turn off your eyes. Like
I love that.
But there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you do. Once you like produce your baby and then release it, like they're done. Your job's done. Everything else after cut or after the applause at the end of the performance is not in your control and out of your hands.
Right. I do have another question, actually. I'm so interested in your comedy.
Yeah.
So like, so like stand up, like
stand-up's terrifying.
Yeah. Okay.
I find stand-up more terrifying than acting.
Okay.
Because in acting, I can blame the writing, as I did previously.
Yeah.
I can blame the writing. I can blame the director. I can blame so many, the editing, anything on why you didn't like a performance of mine. But comedy, I wrote it. I'm performing it. And if you don't like it, that's like you directly don't like me, right? So, and like being liked is the big deal for a lot of people. I don't know. But
so you're more nervous going onto a stage for stand-up than you are an audition room, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Currently, yes. That might change. That might change with being more comfortable on with like the set that I've written out and like practicing it. But like I have a set coming up 2 days from now, or 3 days from now, and I've been stressed about it for weeks.
Okay.
And so I'm like,
And is it like with other comics, like comedians, like, are they nervous also? Like, is it just normal to be nervous, like for all of us?
For all of us,
any people?
I feel like, I feel like there's some who really are like, fuck it, I don't care. Yeah. Or they're really good at pretending that.
Because every comedian like doesn't look like they give a shit.
Yeah. And I've had people be like, "You look so confident on stage." I'm like, I'm shitting my pants the whole time. I'm like, you didn't laugh at that one. Moving on. Great. Thank you so much. My ego's so good right now. So I'm like, torture. But I feel like once you get because I used to think that comedy was like you toured around and you had new jokes every single night.
Okay.
And it's
not that.
Not. Oh. It's like, I know. Okay. So you have like a 5-minute set that you've like written and practiced, and you do that, and then you work up to a 10 and then a 15 and a 20. Okay. But it's like all pre-scripted, unless you see people doing crowd work. I hate crowd work. I hate the idea of
Is it scary?
Terrifying.
Okay.
Yeah.
You hate it because you're scared of it.
So scared of it.
Yeah.
So scared. Yeah. Because it's like, okay, I don't have a witty response. Cool. Now what?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like,
right.
Thanks for coming to my show.
How about you?
Yeah. I'm like,
I can pick on you.
What do you do for work? Cool. And then just like I'm just like, oh my God. So I admire crowd work when comedians can do it. I'm like, whew, good for you. And like, that's impressive because it scares the absolute shit out of me.
And last question, how does stand-up comedy help your acting career, or when you're in front of a camera, if it does at all, or in an audition room?
I feel like it's helped me just realize that like it doesn't matter. Like bombing doesn't matter, and like the awkward moments and the shitty shows, and like you go home. You cry in your car. You cry in your car, you go home, you go to bed, and then you're fine. Yeah. And it's okay. And like the world didn't end. Just your ego got bruised a little bit. And that's okay. You can take it. Like it'll be fine. So I think caring less about
the outcome,
the damage. The outcome, and specifically if it's a negative outcome.
Yes,
I find
interesting.
Too.
I can see how that would work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking this time.
Thank you for all your questions.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. I feel weird about being on the receiving end of the questions, but a video on that coming soon on Tea Time Tuesdays. If you like what we're doing here, please subscribe. It means a lot to us to help grow the channel. Like, comment, and share with a friend in the entertainment industry that would hopefully learn something from this. It feels weird promoting my own interview. But anyway, I hope you liked it. And as always, if you want to donate, you can head to my website, AlisonMullings.com, to help us keep this channel going. I'll see you next time in the next interview.